Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, WWE admits to a huge Raw dud.
Not exactly news this, but Big E is a class act.
We've got the latest on Mariah May's Future.
And Karl Anderson shoots on his WWE release. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
And hey, coming up later today, we've got even more drama from Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. So tune into the after news later on. But starting this one off, we're talking about something from Raw, something from this week's Raw that the people in WWE feel was a big dud, or just a dud. The dud is a scale, so take your pick. What do you think it is? Well,
I know what it is, and I completely agree.
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe on commentary. He wasn't on commentary for particularly long. But
he managed to be terrible.
Yeah, somehow worse than Pat McAfee. But yeah, he was on commentary for a short while. The most contentious line, we'll talk about that in the next story. But a lot of it was just going, "Hey, Michael Cole, you're old. Michael Cole is old. I'm a comedian. I'm paid to be funny. Michael Cole is old."
You got big ears.
Yeah. I mean, I've got big ears too. Yeah. So whatever. This is according to Fightful. I'll just read you the exact line. Those we spoke to backstage in WWE admitted the Tony Hinchcliffe spot came across as a dud. They also said he was very respectful of the show. So he was nice backstage.
I'm sure.
Yeah, and then, on camera, maybe not. They spoke about Bert Kreischer as well. The big boy taking the shirt off. Doing it for the big boys. I respect it. We need representation out there, my man. But Big Bert, he was apparently very friendly backstage.
I'm sure.
And he was talking to people well before the show. He had a spot after the show where he did a choke slam on.
Did he?
On A-Town Down Under.
Oh, I need to see this.
Yeah, jobbers of the year, it seems, in WWE.
I bet he bloody loved that.
Yeah, it's like Jelly Roll did one. Last
Yeah.
year.
Everyone gets to go.
Yeah, everyone gets a choke
We
slam.
used to do stunner parties in WCPW.
Yeah, they'll do choke slam parties.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly on the person taking it. Jump
Yeah.
Right, so Tony Hinchcliffe, let's talk about Big Tone. He's obviously doing the roast of WrestleMania. I don't see what could possibly go wrong there.
I hope that's not filmed.
I mean, that guy's he's. I'll say this. I'm not totally familiar with this geezer, right? I knew he was like a Joe Rogan guy like 5-10 years ago.
Yes.
I saw a video from that pod years ago where it was like Joe Rogan was slagging off wrestling and Tony Hinchcliffe was like defending it.
He is a big wrestling fan.
He's a big fan, for sure. The next time I heard of him was when he said that line about Puerto Rico last year.
Of course, yeah.
And now this. So I'm not an expert on this guy. Do you know him a bit?
I know him a bit more than you do, but like you say, not in great detail. And to play devil's advocate somewhat, if he's a roast comedian, his material's not really going to be great use on Monday Night Raw, where they're obviously keeping him within very...
The family show.
Yeah, exactly. Like you say, he is a big wrestling fan, so I'll give that to him. Like, you mentioned him there defending it on Rogan. He was also on when they had Jake the Snake on Rogan's podcast as a bit of a go-between.
Okay.
And clearly showed his passion for wrestling back then. So it's not about whether or not he's a wrestling fan. It just didn't work, did it? Like
it wasn't funny.
And then the line we'll get onto in a second was just the sort of real final nail in the coffin for all this. Look, I'm sure the rest of WrestleMania will be far better because he can cut a bit more loose, and I sense a lot of that is... too hot for TV or whatever.
He's going to be making Chris Benoit jokes, this guy.
Probably,
man.
But yeah, I think everyone acknowledged it just didn't. I think even Tony himself would acknowledge it just didn't work.
It wasn't right. It wasn't the right fitting. And look, when I say it wasn't funny, humor is the most subjective thing on the planet, right?
But everyone said it was sucked.
Yeah, I didn't see many compliments. Hey, maybe there were people going, Michael Cole is old, and like laughing along and stuff. I didn't really get anything out of it personally. It just seemed like an odd fit. Yeah,
I got far more out of the Bert segment. I'm a big Bert Kreischer fan. Like, Two Bears, One Cave is a great podcast out there. It is weird because Tom Segura is the other guy on that, and he's had his say about wrestling being all fake and that before. Yeah. But good for Bert. Like, he did the thing, he ripped his shirt off. Him and Otis had that moment, and then get a choke slam someone's just like a dream come true, isn't it?
The only thing I know about Tom Segura is that he looks a bit like me.
He does a bit, yeah.
Every time I meet my great friend James, who lives in South Africa, he goes, "Hey, Tom Segura." I'm like, all right, maybe I should check this geezer out. But yeah,
I think Bert would have been genuine. I think Bert would have been better on commentary because he's the machine at the end of the day. So.
Yeah. Like, I'm not familiar with their work, but like, I like big lads. We need more big lads with grey beards.
But
Let's
yes,
go.
speaking of the line we should mention with regards to Tony Hinchcliffe being on commentary, the big thing that everyone was talking about was him saying that Michael Cole was, quote, stiffer than Big E's neck. So it's a bit of a sacred cow you're going after there, Tony.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah, sorry.
And Sam Roberts brought this up, obviously, because he was on the Raw Recap podcast. Great name for a podcast, that.
Yeah.
Should do the SmackDown synopsis as well.
Where'd they get those from?
And he was asked to comment on Tony Hinchcliffe's joke, and he said, well, actually, he said this.
Good.
Which translates to... What a top guy Big E is.
What a broken action figure we got
sorry
there.
about that. He said,
E.
at my big age of 39 years old, people will say what they want about you. It has nothing to do with me. It's not my business. It is tiring having to weigh in on everyone's opinion on whatever they have to say. Look, I'm not hurt. I'm good. I want the discourse to be had without me, honestly. I have no desire to weigh in on this. I didn't sign up for this. I wasn't aware of this. Look, he did what he wanted to do. People signed off on it. It has nothing to do with me, truly. Look, yet again, another example of Big E just being an absolute top bloke. Obviously, he could have quite rightly taken offence, like his neck injury has cost him his career. At least for the time being, always fingers crossed he will eventually return to the ring, but let's never speculate on that until it actually happens. You don't need to watch this channel much to know we are huge fans and friends of Big E. But yet again, he decides to not make this a big thing and just says, "Look, it was okayed by people. I don't want to, create waves here." And what a class act.
Couldn't have possibly taken higher ground on this, could he? Tremendous. He's continually the best guy in wrestling, I think. He never goes low. He always, distances himself from BS and silly nonsense. And I have the utmost respect for him and his response here. I think, like you say, Tony Hinchcliffe is a roast comedian, so he's going to go for things that are shocking and edgy and stuff like that. He probably thought, and if he's a wrestling fan, he probably thought, well, everyone loves Big E, this will be shocking and edgy. Just not the one, I don't think. Not the one. Wrestling fans did not respond particularly well to this, and understandably so.
If you have tickets to the Roast of WrestleMania, get a refund. And get tickets to our show instead. It's on a completely different night, I think. But regardless, Friday, April 18th.
2 days earlier.
It'd be way more fun anyway, and probably more enjoyable. It's the meet and greets at the HyperX Arena, as well as a live SmackDown watch-along with all the gang, and then live ups and downs being filmed afterwards, as well as myself and Hamlet doing a big WrestleMania preview podcast. Drinks till late, although NXT's very early in the morning the next day, so be sensible. But join us, well, I'll try. Join us for that next Friday. A week today, we fly to Las Vegas.
Creeping up.
Yes, join us, whatculture.com/tickets.
Let's go. Looking forward to WrestleMania week, really. Yeah. Not even a weekend at this stage.
This time, where will we be in the world this time next week?
This is a good question.
Probably stuck somewhere on the transition between many flights that we're taking.
I think I'll be sitting in Heathrow on my own for 2 hours going, Bark! But yeah, there we go.
Come and say hello if you see.
Yeah, let's do that.
Don't be weird, but
yeah, be real, like Cypress Hill. Right, let's talk about Mariah May. What's going on with Mariah May?
What is going on? We keep talking about this story, and I thought it was put to bed, to be honest.
It's the same every week, but Fightful have an update.
There's a little bit of speculation in there.
Because somebody asked Sean about this in a Q&A for Fightful Select. There's a bunch of stuff going around, but here was Sean's answer. He was asked specifically about if she was leaving AEW for WWE. The response was, "We covered this heavily last week," which is a great start.
Sean Ross Sapp said, "I'm sick of talking about this."
Yeah. We covered this a lot last week. There was a lot of misinformation going around even when learning about this story. Mariah May's name is not on any internal WWE documents that we've heard of. There is no deal worked out. She's under contract for a number of months to AEW. She could end up going to WWE, but there's still time on her AEW deal. There's been speculation of an option year that Tony Khan might have, because 2 years is quite a short deal by his standards, so it would make sense if he had the ability to plug some extras on. I think it feels like the kind of thing that we're not going to know anything definitively for another couple of months.
No, exactly. I really feel for Sean in this situation, because he's been asked this question a lot, and this is the only answer he can really give, because unless he's literally talking to Mariah May or maybe Tony Khan, you're not going to really know. You can only work with the details that you've got. All signs point to her sticking around in AEW, but of course, Sean has to say there is a chance that AEW lose their minds and say, actually, we don't want you around here.
Yeah.
The Hollywood ending, didn't like it, actually.
Yeah.
So piss off, Mariah. Or she says,
here.
I really don't want to be here. Please, please, please just let me go. I'm going to WWE.
Yeah.
But in all likelihood, either they just come to an agreement on a new contract, or at the bare minimum, like you say, AEW obviously would exercise an option on her.
Yeah, if they have one, they're not going to go, nah, see you later.
Yeah.
Like, unless she says, hello, I'd really like to leave.
Yeah.
But in which case, they might just hold her to her deal, because that's what they do.
Yeah. She's class, and you won't want to lose her.
She's been a fixture of the division for 2 years. Part of the most important storyline in that division, arguably in the company. They're not going to just go bugger off.
Maybe we'll know more next month when it's gonna be May.
Okay. All right. That's her name.
Right, should we talk
This is going to piss people off.
Let's talk Karl Anderson.
Jesus.
Obviously, he and Doc Gallows, Good Brothers, were released by WWE back in February. And unfortunately, Karl is currently sidelined with a torn rotator cuff and a partially torn labrum. He's going to be out until, probably May at the absolute earliest, but maybe even sort of August time. It's 6 to 9 months recovery for a surgery in November. But of course, Anderson and Gallows have their Talk and Shop podcast, one of the best podcasts out there that's not ours, and they have revealed they will reveal everything on May 8th. Don't know why that date is so specific, what rules and stuff they will be no longer breaking when they talk about this by May 8th, but regardless, they've started teasing some little things about what they're going to be talking about, including AJ Styles' comments in his Chris Van Vliet interview, blocking Road Dogg, Triple H, and more. And they were talking in their most recent episode, because the day that it landed on Friday, about Kevin Owens and all the speculation, of course, about him being injured and out of WrestleMania, and get well soon to Kevin Owens, of course. But Karl said, I don't know anything about storylines or how his health is. I don't know his injury status. I don't want to comment on that. I'm just going to say this. I hope if he's really hurt and he has surgery, I hope he's not released 2.5 months after the major surgery. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. That's if you're not kept up here, that's what's happened to Karl Anderson, of course. He basically continued by saying he hopes it's a work, and him and Randy do get their match at WrestleMania. But also said that if he is injured, hope he recovers, obviously. But allusions to WWE releasing him mid-injury, post-surgery, which he's quite understandably frustrated about.
Yeah, brutal. I saw this yesterday afternoon. A lot of people got very annoyed by it. Said, Karl Anderson wasn't on TV, got paid to do nothing, blah, blah, blah. This stupid ad hominem nonsense. Look, Karl Anderson got released while he was injured. 2.5 months. He's still injured.
Yeah.
Shortly after surgery, see you later. That's absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
On a human level, if you can't look at that and go, yeah, that's wrong. We just can't relate. We don't relate. We're different people.
I don't like releases. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have been released, because like you say, they weren't being used, but to do it when he's in that sort of situation just seems very heartless.
It's brutal. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. And
whatever company does it, by the way.
Yeah, don't release people while they're injured. And for all the things you can say about WWE's business practices over the years, they didn't used to release people while they were injured.
No.
That used to be, I don't know if it was an official rule, but they just didn't do it. They kept people contracted while they were recovering and all of this stuff. They didn't used to just go, hey, get lost. To release a guy.
Didn't they release someone when they'd just given birth as well? Was Mella released? Mella released.
Oh God, yeah, but when did she give birth?
I don't know. But regardless, it just seems very cold.
It's brutal. You release a guy and he can't go out and wrestle and make money now at the moment while he's injured. He can't go and do his job, and you've released him. It's absolutely brutal. So okay, was Karl's comments very close to the book? Absolutely, absolutely. But if you can't see his frustration.
He has been screwed over numerous times by WWE.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's been very well paid by them, of course, but let's not forget they were.
Well, let's not give the company any slack.
No, exactly. They signed to a big contract, then they realised actually we don't mind if people jump to AEW, so then they went back on that contract. This is many years ago, of course. And like you say, if people are going to sit there and say, well, they weren't using him, so just get rid of him. Well, Here's a compromise. As Andy said, it's not like he can turn around and say, well, you've released me, but at least I can go and get some indie bookings. He can't do anything till at least the summer, effectively. Here's a compromise. First of all, you've got unlimited money. Like, both companies shouldn't be doing this. I don't necessarily think that they should just keep everybody forever, obviously, but not when someone's injured. Just say, look, mate, probably going to release you at the end of the deal. You and I both know that. But we're going to use Gallows as like enhancement talent on NXT at the bare minimum, let's say.
Book him as Sex Ferguson. Why not?
You can either manage him or... I mean, Karl Anderson, he's a great like brain in wrestling. He's been used in various different companies. Why not just say, do you mind coming on like the creative team for a bit?
Yeah.
You don't have to even come in. We'll just like Zoom call you or whatever.
Yeah, this is it. I just fundamentally disagree with releasing people while they're injured. In fact, like the whole release thing, like people sign a contract for X amount of years. You know, if they
agreement by both parties.
Exactly. If not for this independent contractor nonsense, I would expect that to stand up. If a football player in our country, sport, whatever, signs a 3-year deal, you're getting paid for 3 years, baby, unless you sign a new deal elsewhere. It's like you can't just go, you're done in 90 days. Realistically, a WWE contract is a 90-day contract.
Yeah.
Because they can enact that whenever they want.
But you can't turn around to them and say, actually, 90 days I'm out the door.
Yeah, exactly. It's so one-sided. So, like, I 100% see why Karl Anderson said this stuff. And best wishes, Kevin Owens. Best wishes to Karl in his recovery.
Yeah.
Don't release people while injured. It should be pretty straightforward, in my opinion. But yeah, be nice to your independent contractors.
Say what else is meant to be straightforward. Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair cutting promos on each other. We'll talk more about that later on. In the meantime, what can I watch, Andy?
100 greatest WrestleMania moments ever, baby.
Week and a half to go, baby. Get excited.
Maybe we'll add one next week. See you later.
Bye.